My name is Shirley Wade, and I have had so many unlawful arrests. Um, I was all the time innocent, and this last arrest was on my ORU campus, Oral Roberts University campus, which was on the 6th. I was trying to get over to Victory Church, which is my church I always go to while I'm here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Um, when a police officer, I didn't even think that he was a real police officer at the time because he pulled up beside me in a black truck. He had a black truck. Like I said, I was walking across the Victory lot, or Roberts University lot, and trying to get to church. And but first, I went over to Victory, and there was a security guard that met me at the door that said that they wasn't having services, which was to my surprise because the parking lot was full of cars. He said that there was a game, and I needed a ticket to get in. And he said that there was a play going on across the street. So at the Victory Church across the street. So I went across the street. Something didn't sit right with me about going across the street, but I went anyway. And as I was walking over, this black truck, man in a black truck, white older guy in a black truck, stopped me and said, "If you don't get off this campus, I'm going to have you arrested." And I said, "Why? I'm a former student here, and I'm to be going here in January. So why would you have me arrested?" And then there was a black car that spurred around beside me, and I jumped on the lot because I was didn't know what was going to happen there. And he said, "I'm going to have you arrested right now if you don't get off the campus." So I started walking across the street, and God literally spoke to me and said, "Don't walk across the street." But I'm standing. When I got to the middle of the street, he left the campus going across the street to meet me at the church at Victory. So he was going to have me arrested at the church at Victory. And mind you, I'm not a criminal. I've never ever committed a crime. I've been saved since I was 7, in the ministry since I was 17. I'm a former student there at Oral Roberts University. And when I saw him go across the street to the church, I got back on the campus or Roberts University side, and I started walking across the lot trying to get to um, back into the other Victory to tell someone. Well, he met me right back on the lot with two white female officers. He was also a Caucasian guy, and they had two black police cars, and he was trying to get into my bags. He was telling me that I needed to open up my backpack and show him what I had in there. And I said, "Well, you don't even have a search warrant." I gave him um, they asked my ID. I gave him my ID. To make a long story short, they took me to jail that night, and the police um, took me in the back of the jail under a garage where they started, where they tried to put me in a dumpster. It was a blue dumpster. They tried to put me in, and I started screaming and hollering and calling on God. Lord have mercy. I was speaking in tongues. I was just really trying to get have God's ear. And they told me, "Well, we're not trying to put you in a dumpster." As they're running me over to it, "We're not trying to put you in a dumpster. We're going to put you in a cell next to a dumpster." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be in a cell next to a dumpster either." So they brought me back inside where I stayed in a cell, the kind where the toilet is hooked up to the sink. So you'll know whether you're drinking out of the sink or the toilet, one of those. And I was there all night until the next day when they put me and several other of the inmates into a black van with black tinted windows. They put us in this black van with black tinted windows and took us over to another jail where I jail cell up in up Moby or something, and I was there for I don't know where I was, but I was there for 3 nights, and um, then they took us back over to Tulsa jail cell. They did not um, return all of my property. My backpack had 2 computers in it, my phone, which they did not return, with a microphone for recording. You can see me on my Facebook page, just doing like a rhyme, um, um, doing some rhyming on this microphone. The other computer, I bought it from my son um, for Christmas. It's gone. His little infantry truck, military uh, stands for him. Um, Going back into property, he said. And Officer lied and told me that he didn't know the zip code of the place. He told me it was 11 West 17th Street at first, and then he said it was 1111 West 17th Street. And I asked him for the zip code. He just kept telling me he didn't know. I asked the ladies at the window. They told me they didn't know the zip code. They didn't know the full address. Um, so I'm upset because this is really unfortunate to a woman of God, somebody of my caliber. And I was also told before I left Miami um, that I could not come back on the Miami campus. Mind you, I'm a graduate student of Miami-Dade College. I got my culinary arts um, degree, license, and everything to cook. Um, and when I went back on campus after my backpack and phone was stolen off the beach, uh, which I made a police report, and I tried to get a few police officers' attention about it, and they said, well, we'll be back, rode their bikes on. And so I wrote it out, and I stuck it up on the little box in South Beach that's right across the street from Fat Tuesdays. And um, I'm just terrified because of the dumpster situation, and I've had several other unlawful arrests like it um, back that I mean wasn't doing anything wrong, wasn't doing nothing out of the ordinary for me, and they just arrested me. But when I was at Miami-Dade campus, I don't know if what she was, but it was a black officer that told me that I needed to not come back to the campus. I was inquiring about how to retrieve my student ID because I was going to go back to school there and take another class. Um, I won't say what that is because, like I said, I'm terrified. I don't know, why. Um, this is just something, but I just thought, wow, this is the whole time they were taking me over to that dumpster. I was just kept thinking, oh God, what am I going to have to endure? What am I going to have to endure? Um, after all this that I have been through. So I'm asking people to reach out to me. My name is Shirley Wade. My phone number is um, 786-337-3777. I got another phone and switch my phone number back over to this new phone. But I am really asking people not only to pray for me, but to have a lawyer's conference with me. Um, I have gotten a runaround from the news. I called the news, and the news, but not even a runaround. They just told me that they couldn't take my story and that I needed to um, get a lawyer. And I called legal aid and got the runaround. So I'm asking people to have a lawyer's conference for me or with me. Just give me a call. I'm doing only video uh, chat because I don't trust everyone. So, um, and also, I was arrested at Bethesda Temple in St. Louis, Missouri, much in the same way. I was just um, went to Bethesda Temple on a Saturday morning. I was supposed to be in leadership with the youth there that year, and just coming up to Bethesda Temple to plan some things and get in touch with the youth pastor. I was arrested. They lied and said I had a traffic ticket, and that was just a complete lie. And I sat in jail for 3 weeks. Um, I also got arrested at the Potter's House. One year, I think it was 2012 or 2013, after they had a mega fest. That Wednesday, after the mega fest was over, I went up to the church to inquire about the next thing that we had to do in the drama ministry because I had been in a play there called This Christmas. Um, and I just wanted to know what was the next thing that we had to do. And so I went up to the church, and the security guard had Miller on his tag, name tag, followed me all around from the back of the church and told me that I had to leave, that I could not come back to the Potter's house anymore, um, and that that I was going to be arrested for trespassing. And every time I was arrested, I was told that I was arrested for trespassing. Even when I was on the ORU lot and got arrested there, they told me that I was trespassing. And I was not trespassing. They were simply trespassing me. I have every right to go to church at Victory. I have every right. I'm a former student there to be on that campus. And I had a right to be at Bethesda. I had a right to be at the Potter's house. I was also arrested in South Beach Memorial Day. It was at night around 8, after 8 p.m. In front of a full crowd. The police walked over to me while I was drinking a soda in front of Fat Tuesdays and told me that I could not um, be there, that I was trespassing. And thousands of people are just standing in front of me witnessing this arrest in Fat Tuesdays, and I have a lawyer, public defender that lied to the courts and told them that I was not at Fat Tuesdays, but I was at Mango's getting arrested. Um, she also lied and said that there were no cameras, and there was cameras all over the place. There was a big camera right in front of me, uh, right, right across the street from Fat Tuesdays. So, and they just told me in front of everybody that I was trespassing. I got up like the police officer said, um, and he lied about everything. Um, he said that I hit him, which I did not hit him. They claimed they were saying I had Valerie of Leo, which I did never hit the police officer. Um, and they wanted to give me 5 years in prison for that. They put me in a jail diversion program. They said that at the end of the year they would drop the charges. I would have to be monitored for a year in this program, and they said that they would drop the charges, possibly drop the charges after that. Um, and I have to do what I have to do. I'm a single mom, and they put me on disability uh, for this. Um, and I'm not schizophrenic um, to like a regular, diagnosis or whatever. Um, that was something, schizophrenic or bipolar was something that was ruled out for me through psychologists before I left St. Louis. But I do have whatever diagnosis you would give someone that has been arrested so many times for no reason at all, put in a jail cell, been beat up by police because I've had scratches on my face. I still have uh, scratches on my hands. I don't know if you can see them, but anyway, I have scratches on my hand and on my arms, my wrists from having so many handcuffs and being manhandled all the time. Scratches on my face for here, and but I was arrested in South Beach, and then before that, the year before that, I was arrested off the bus coming from Aventura Mall. Back, it was in June that the year before the South Beach incident. This man looked so much like Tyler Perry. I was excited. I thought it was him, but it was not him. But he just told me, get out this mall or you're going to be arrested for trespassing. So I got on the bus and the police arrested me. They stopped the bus and they told the passengers to get off. And they tased me about 5 times. I was tased. They took a picture of me with my eyes closed. When I got into the jail cell, that was my mug shot. My eyes were closed through the mug shot. And I sat in jail for 6 months, from June all the way to 2 days before Christmas. And they just told me that I was trespassing on the bus. He literally got on the bus and told me, get off this bus or I'm arrested for trespassing. And I would not get off the bus. They had to pull me off that bus because it was at night. It was about 10 o'clock. At Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, I was arrested twice. They told me I was trespassing at the hospital. I did, I wasn't really doing spoken word, but I just wrote out like a freestyle of a little rhyme called Do You Have to Cuff Me? After that. And after I did Do You Have to Cuff Me on YouTube, I was sitting at Barnes Hospital. I was seen at Barnes Hospital, and after I got out, I was on the phone calling my ride, the hospital phone calling my ride, and one police officer came over and snatched the phone off the wall, and then they took me in the back and they handcuffed me. First, they took me to this room that was like a cell in the back of the ER. And they threw me on the mat, and he just began choking me. This officer began choking me. And then they put me in this bed that had handcuffs all down the bed. And I was handcuffed. My arms were handcuffed all the way down to my legs were handcuffed. And I just had these cuffs on me. And about 12 officers took turns choking me. These are really the horrific things that I have been through. Also at Barnes Hospital. Mind you that I used to work at Barnes Hospital. I used to work for Washington University as a radiology distribution clerk. I worked there for 3 years, but I worked for St. Louis, Missouri Hospital for 2 years in their clerical pool. And so I felt that I had every right to go down there to be seen or to sit in the emergency room or whatever. I went and sat in the emergency room one time, and they pulled me into the elevator. About 6 police officers, 4 or 6 police officers, put me in the elevator, took me down to the ground floor, and they handcuffed me to a chair. They interrogated me, and then they put me in jail. And down in this, actually in the hospital, while I was handcuffed to the chair where they interrogated me, there was wires, different color wires hanging from the ceiling. And it was a very horrible looking place. And I'm still really traumatized from it. They different color wires hanging from the ceiling. It's not a place where you would think a police officer would take anyone. But I sat down there with them while and there was on another occasion, they took me down there more than once. It's about 3 or 4 times that they took me down to this place and handcuffed me to a chair. Um, and they, um, on one occasion, there was this white officer, and these officers was actually black police officers. They was actually a black police officer, but on one occasion, there was a white police officer. It took me down with a white female officer, and he had my hands bent back like this. As far as they could go, and it was so painful. He just made me feel like I was cattle or something. It was just so horrible. And another time I was arrested, it was in Atlanta, Georgia, at Walmart. I had made my purchase, and they pulled me in the back where the cameras are. He was trying to say that I stole something, and this is directly after I made my purchase. I'm on my way out the door, and he pulled me in the back where the cameras are. He turned the cameras on, and we watched me make the purchase, and he arrested me anyway and took me to jail in Atlanta, Georgia. I was there for about 3 weeks. Another time I was arrested was at Applebee's in Dallas, Texas, where there were about 4 guys that they were begging me to let them feed me. I said no, no, no. So many times it was pathetic. I just, they was just like, we have to buy you something. We have to buy you something. You're just sitting here drinking water. I said, water is fine. They said, well, we're going to just call you water then because you just want to sit and drink water. To make a long story short, the guy brought the trays out. I began to eat. The guy was eating off the plate with me. And then he just left. And so the bill was on me, and I was really out of cash at the time, and they arrested me then, and I sat in jail for that as well. Another time I was arrested, I was in at the laundromat across the street from Berkeley High School in Ferguson. And I was just washing clothes, and the police came in there and arrested me and told me I was trespassing. And he told me that I was trespassing, and that and I had on my leather jacket, and he began to pull on me. So he pulled on me so hard that he tore the arm off my black leather jacket. Um, and so it's just really unfortunate that I never thought all the Christian walk that I've have would lead me down a road where police would harass me. Normally, I worked at Lambert Airport in Paradise Gift Shop for 4 years, and really 5 years, because I was actually chased off the job when I started working there in Dallas, Texas. I was literally chased off my job by 2 women. They were threatening to call the police on me. I had never stole anything in my life. I'm sort of looked up to the Paradise family in St. Louis, a sweetheart to them, and I called them first thing when it happened. So, but there I was harassed by police again on my job at the Waffle House. In Dallas, Texas, and I was told not to come back there. Not causing any trouble or anything. This girl just got on the job and said that she was going to call the police on me if I don't leave. And I said, well, why do I have to leave? I work here. you know, and I want to place an order here. And again, in Miami Beach, I was in McDonald's where a security guard um, wouldn't let me in the door at first of McDonald's. And once he let me in the door, he was just walking all up on me, telling me that I had to leave the restaurant. And I said, I can't order here. You know, what is wrong with you? And I was trying to talk to the manager to get the manager's attention. And he just kept ordering me out. And he was like, well, you know, it was just really horrible. So um, they want to say that, um, that do you have to cuff me as such a threat? But you keep, if it is such a threat, why do you keep doing this to someone like me? It's not like I'm going to commit a crime. I'm never going to commit a crime. You're simply trespassing me, and I want a lawyer's conference. I've written several plays about it. One called CUFFS, and thanks to you guys, it's a series. Um, and people that I've known that this has happened to, um, prior to me ever going through it. Um, I've written their stories as well, and they are all men, because I've never known anyone doing this to a girl. Each time I'm in jail, though, I must say, people are shouting out King Jordan Mitchell's name. And I was also told when I was at the jails at Miami-Dade's corrections office facility, um, jail, that I was in jail because of a housing program, and I was in Hope Atlanta's housing program in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where um, King Jordan Mitchell was actually um, a manager. No, she wasn't a manager, but she worked for Travelers Aid and hooked us up with the housing program there. And I had told her initially, I said, I write plays, and I said, and since you helped us get into this housing, I'm going to write a play about you helping us. Well, I couldn't do that because she basically said some messed up stuff to my son. My son came home one day and told me that um, that my son came home one day and told me that the man at the daycare was pulling out his wee wee, and he was glue was coming out of it. So I went up to the school all hysterical, and the manager there had took up for um, the man and just said no, he wasn't. We don't believe that he was doing this or whatever. She stuck by him instead of my son, and I was so mad and upset about it. I told the king about it, and she told my son. We were sitting in her back seat, and when she told my son, Titus needs to stop talking so damn much. And nobody has been molesting him and stuff like that. And I said, well, whenever my son come and tell me something, I take his side first. I said, you always take the child's side first. I said, he has no reason to lie. He don't know anything about glue or anything else. Um, you know, that's something that, he was 5 years old at the time, and that's something that a child just wouldn't even fathom. So, um, I was really upset with her about that. And then she turned to her son and she said, oh, are you gay? She said, everybody got a gay uncle anyway. Are you gay? And her son nodded, yes. And I said, you know what, McCain? I said, that shit don't even work in the animal kingdom. Excuse my French. But that was my son. I had to go there, even as a Christian woman. I went there with her. So, it's that kind of thing we did exposed. we did expose that in the play, and she had no way of knowing about it. So I know that couldn't be a motive of hers, but she knew that I was a clean woman, don't smoke, don't drink, um, don't do drugs, um, a Christian woman. I was always going to church, even from the program every Sunday at Changing a Generation. Um, and when I got my income tax, I moved out and got my own place down at Deerfield Gardens on uh, Campbellton Road in Atlanta, Georgia. And since then moved out um, because basically in the same way um, that I was arrested, it was just, um, I mean, in the way that I was arrested, it was just unlawful. They had no right to arrest me. Whatever, I know the issue that she had with me was because I said I didn't want to raise my son in Atlanta because of the gays, and I wanted him to know the mannerisms of a man and to grow up like I did, just knowing the men, like women, and men behave a certain way. And when I told her that, I didn't know that she would get offended, but she told me, you're gonna be just like my sister who. Um, she told me, you're gonna be just like my sister who just go from state to state, and now her son is gay. Like, that's a big fucking deal. She said that in front of my son again, and I said, could you not talk like that in front of my child? And where I'm from, it really is a big deal. So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I lived in Miami, um, Miami um, Gordons for a bit, and I'm here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just trying to get through school, do my church functions, and have my play. And I welcome you all to come see it. Just give me a call. I'm Cherry Wade on Facebook. Um, and you can all have a wonderful day, and remember to also pray for us, for Tigers Only. For Tigers Only.